One other thing I wanted to go back to and talk about who was here. We do have people from just by way of maybe show of hands, the counties. Who's here from the counties? Bear Lake, okay, quite a few. And how many are from the cities? Okay. And I know that you're all here from the state of Bear Lake, right? Right. We try to erase that border. That's why I didn't talk about Utah and Idaho. That was actually, um, it's a great opportunity to bring everybody to work together and really a lot of things we need to do. We need to erase that border and there are a lot of things that legally we can't erase that border, so we have to learn to work together. Our next speaker is Brian Carver from Bear River Association of Governments. They work to serve Rich County. I got to stay on the right side of the border here. Rich County, Cache County, and Box Elder County. Is that correct? And Brian is graduate from Utah State, and I probably wouldn't get. I wrote it down, but it's way over there. Tell me what your degree. Landscape architecture. Okay, I want to get that right. But he's had a lot of experience in the state already. Worked for the Governor's Office of Budget and Planning. He's worked for SITLA. I know these things. The internet. Yeah. Anyway, we're very pleased to have him come and to talk a little bit about their office and what they have to offer in assistance with our region, and we make them kind of erase that border a little bit too. So I'll turn time over to Brian.
All right, can't go back. We'll just go forwards. Well, thank you, Claudia. Yeah, I'm Brian Carver, and I guess I need to make sure my Facebook page is up to date. Excuse me. But yeah, I would just like to take a few minutes and talk about some of the regional planning efforts that are already going on up here that you may or may not be aware of. Regional planning, actually in the Bear Lake, has been kind of pioneering, at least from the state of Utah's perspective. The Bear Lake Regional Commission, established in what year was it? 73. I mean that's an organization that's been around for quite a while and has been actually used as a model around the state of Utah for other regional planning efforts. The Utah Lake in central Utah has multiple jurisdictions around it, and they used the Bear Lake Commission as a pattern to develop their own interagency working group, and now they're looking at establishing the same for the Great Salt Lake in Utah. So this sort of resource-oriented or geographically oriented cooperative action that has been going on in Bear Lake for years is something that people around the region have taken notice of and are starting to recognize the value of. Another agency that was established in 1972 was Bear River Association of Governments. This is also, we're a voluntarily organized association of local governments done through a memorandum of understanding. So there is some legal basis to it, but it's still strictly voluntary. We have, 37 cities and towns, and then the 3 counties. 39 cities and towns, thanks Zach, in 3 counties in northern Utah that work together to plan and coordinate certain activities. And Idaho has a similar organization, CCOG, Southeastern Idaho Council of Governments. The tricky thing is these organizations exist all around the country, but no two are alike anywhere. Each region has its own priorities and has its own ways to deal with certain issues, and so each association or council of governments has their own structure and their own programs. CCOG is set up very differently from BRAG. There's some similarities, but you know, they direct their resources in different ways. So, but it might still be helpful to talk to them. They're in Pocatello, I believe, and you know, we try and interact with them where we can. But BRAG was established in 1972 as as an opportunity for the local governments to work together on common issues. And as this regional organization, it was identified that we're a good mechanism for delivering certain services. We serve as the delivery point for a number of state and federal programs. We're the housing authority for the region, which is not something that every association or council does, but we were identified regionally as a good way to do that. We're also the area agency on aging services, so we help with senior programs, help work with the senior centers and Meals on Wheels programs for the area. So we also deal with a number of community development programs and grants and other things. And we serve as an economic development district that's recognized by the U.S. Department of Commerce. So we have a broad range of things that we deal with. And we have 15 elected officials that serve as our governing board. There are a couple of them here. I see Tom and Bill. I don't see anybody else, but so our actions, we respond to the directions of our board, which in turn respond to the opinions and priorities of their constituents that elected them. So we do have some, there is still some tie there to the general public. I apologize, this is probably a little tricky to read in the back. I should have just listed them on a slide, but I thought it'd be fun to show our website. This is the website for our office. And down here on the bottom, it's a little hard to read, but we have a list of all of the different plans that we have produced through our region. As this coordinating body, and as we work with a number of different organizations and programs throughout our region, we help develop documents and planning programs that help guide how these services are delivered. We have a mobility management plan that we just released, which deals with providing transportation services to specific target populations such as senior citizens and persons with disabilities and low-income populations. So we work in a transportation planning service. In that sense, we've also recently completed a pre-disaster hazard mitigation plan for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, which is to help communities identify natural disasters that could occur within their communities, help them look at different ways to mitigate or lessen the impact if those disasters were to occur, and then help them find funding and other resources to help them actually implement those mitigation procedures. We also, since we provide housing services, we also have to write a programmatic plan for housing, for the Housing and Urban Development Office with the federal government. So we deal with homelessness in the region. We deal with low-income family housing. We also deal with the workforce housing issues. So we have plans that address that. We also work regionally to develop an economic development strategy where we look at improvements that can be made to infrastructure that would encourage new businesses. We look at ways of growing our local businesses as well as attracting new businesses. So we look at this in each county as well as on a regional level. We have a homelessness plan. We have senior program plans. We also work, or try to work closely with Utah State University. I'd certainly advocate that you stay in contact with them. There are a number of programs at the university that deal with regional planning and local community level planning that are a great benefit. We have a couple of representatives from the school here today. I'd certainly corner Carlos and see what they can do for you. But they have a number of programs. The landscape architecture and environmental planning program, of which I'm an alum, is great. They have a charrette program, which is where they bring their students up for just a few days and they take a real quick snapshot of your community and meet with the public and talk about different ideas and different ways to solve problems, and then the students just they go into just this caffeine-induced frenzy and produce piles of good ideas and solutions that can be applied to some of these issues that have been identified. And then the community, of course, can kind of pick and choose from this buffet of great ideas. You know, some of them, of course, are very, you know, they teach the students to be creative, and some of the ideas are just, you know, really way out there, and you know, we used to come up with all kinds of kooky stuff, but you know, that's how you grow and learn, and it's great. It may not be practical, but it's a lot of fun. But they also, I mean, you get a broad spectrum of ideas, and you never know what you're going to find that will actually work for you.